If you run a business in Bangladesh,
Yeah.
you definitely know the feeling. The market growth is just incredible. But the HR side of things, all the paperwork, the compliance, hiring, can feel like a legal and administrative minefield.
It is.
And you have to ask, how do you keep up? Especially when the rules seem to be changing constantly.
That tension you're describing between that rapid expansion on one hand and the regulatory risk on the other, that's exactly what defines the corporate environment in DACA right now.
Right.
You just can't maintain momentum if your HR structure is always playing catch up. I mean, when a business is small, maybe under 20 people, you can get by with those personal, handshake style agreements.
Sure, it feels more manageable then.
But the moment you scale past that administrative burden, it becomes a real drag.
Right.
And the legal exposure, well, it can become potentially crippling.
And that need for structural support is so clear. Today, we're really going to dissect the approach of Payroll BD. They've been in this market for, over 15 years now?
That's right.
And they position themselves as a PEO and an EOR. So let's break that down for a second. What does that actually mean for a business owner on the ground? A PEO, professional employer organization, and an EOR, an employer of record.
In simple terms, it means they absorb the complexity and the legal risk. The EOR function specifically means Payroll BD legally employs your staff on paper for all the official purposes.
Okay, so they're the employer on the books.
Exactly. And this allows you, the client, to direct their day-to-day work without having to manage the entire local compliance framework, the tax, the benefits. It's a unified strategy across HR, payroll, benefits, and, local risk management. It's designed to let you focus on your core business.
Okay, so that sets the stage perfectly. Our mission here is to analyze how that risk absorption works in practice. We're going to look at two major areas. First, their comprehensive managed HR services, and then that specific framework they call the 6 solutions in right way. So let's start with that foundation. Managed HR services. This is about the full employee lifecycle, right? Not just hiring.
That's right.
So before we even get to the people, let's talk about the paper, the policy. What kind of compliance framework is Payroll BD providing that a growing business might, just completely overlook?
We have to start with risk mitigation. I mean, in a market where labor laws are so dynamic, you just need ironclad policies. Payroll BD provides the necessary auditing services. They help with HR policy creation and, critically, guidance on standing order benefits.
Okay, hold on. You mentioned standing order benefits. That's a key term, I think. Can you unpack that for us?
Yeah.
What does that mean in the context of Bangladeshi labor law?
Essentially, these are the non-negotiable mandatory conditions of employment. They're laid out by the local legal framework.
So things you can't get wrong.
Things you absolutely cannot get wrong. It dictates specifics like sick leave entitlements, how you have to calculate annual leave, prescribed working hours. If your company policy doesn't align perfectly with those standing orders, you are immediately exposed to fines, to legal challenges. So Payroll BD's role is to ensure your policies are, they're globally standardized, but also meticulously compliant with those local statutes. You eliminate the errors before they become, a crippling court case.
So compliance is the wall protecting the business. Let's talk about the gate now. Getting people in the door. Employee onboarding. It's famous for administrative friction for contract errors.
Always.
How does acting as the EOR help Payroll BD streamline that initial risk point?
They turn what is usually this tedious, multi-step process into a single compliant handoff. The EOR handles everything. I mean, from drafting the locally compliant offer letters, running all the necessary employment rights checks.
All the background stuff.
All of it. Arranging the legally sound employment contracts, and then formally inducting the new hire on the ground. This ensures that from the second that employee starts, their documentation is flawless and aligned with local requirements. It saves you time, but more importantly, it saves you from potential legal disputes down the line.
That initial step is so vital. But the relationship, it spans the entire employee's time with the company. So let's look at the full employee lifecycle management. We're talking performance, retention, and crucially, offboarding.
And offboarding is where businesses often suffer the most. I mean, the losses in legal fees and time can be staggering. Payroll BD's network supports the ongoing phase probation management, daily HR casework, retention strategies, but their strategic value really shines when you have to manage an exit.
Can you give me a specific scenario? Let's talk about a reduction in force, or RIF.
Yeah.
These mass layoffs are incredibly complex anywhere, but what makes managing a RIF or even just a disciplinary termination so sensitive in the DACA context.
The issue is that termination disputes, even standard redundancies, can drag on for months, sometimes years, in local labor courts if the procedure was flawed in any way. So when you're executing a RIF or a disciplinary action, the legal necessity for justification, for documentation, for the specific severance calculation, it's just very, very high. Payroll BD provides that secure regional support for handling these really sensitive issues. They make sure disciplinaries are implemented correctly, and all the paperwork for a resignation or redundancy is legally airtight.
So it minimizes the chance of litigation.
It minimizes it massively. It transforms a really high-risk situation into a manageable conclusion.
It sounds like the value isn't just administrative then, it's genuinely strategic.
Mm-hmm.
By outsourcing this foundational structure, a business owner is essentially buying back their own bandwidth to focus on the market.
That's the essence of the PEO model.
I bet.
Exactly. You're leveraging 15 years of their accumulated local expertise and systems, which allows you to focus your executive time on, say, client acquisition and innovation, not on internal HR audits. And that actually brings us neatly to the specific framework that Payroll BD has developed. This is the highly actionable 6 solutions in right way. And this isn't just a list of services, it's an integrated system.
Okay, so let's dig into that. Let's start with the solutions focused on proactive risk mitigation, especially around hiring. That would be numbers 1, 6, and 3. Solution 1 is employment screening, and solution 6 is background verification. We hear these terms a lot globally, but why is this kind of screening a specific must in today's environment in Bangladesh?
Because the risk profile is unique. I mean, while many markets struggle with verifying, say, educational claims, a fast-moving, decentralized economy like Bangladesh makes verifying previous employment history and professional conduct really challenging if you don't have deep local networks.
Yeah, it's about getting the right information.
It's about getting accurate, timely information. Thorough background verification actively reduces the risk of bad hires, which we know cause exponential damage over time. And it increases the odds of a successful long-term placement. It's about hiring right the first time.
And fitting right in with that is solution 3, recruiting services. This isn't just, an applicant tracking system. This is high-touch headhunting, right?
Exactly. Payroll BD's headhunters are actively finding, interviewing, screening, and then selecting the best candidates. But what's really critical here and what separates them is the specialized executive search capability.
For the C-level.
For senior ranking executives, yes. The C-level leadership that's going to drive transformative results. Public job postings are often just ineffective for those roles. You need discrete, specialized searches that use deep industry networks to ensure a timely and efficient match at the most crucial levels. So, shifting from people to process, let's look at the operational backbone, the tools. This brings us to the technology and structural solutions, numbers 2 and 5. Solution 2 is human capital management, or HCM.
Okay, we've used that term a few times. Let's break down what HCM means here beyond just simple payroll. Is this software, or is it a fully managed system?
It's the fully managed system, but it's supported by technology. Human capital management uses HRMS tech to automate all those standard HR procedures, which drastically increases your operational efficiency.
Like what, for example?
Think automated leave management, digital records, integrated performance tracking, and on top of that, Payroll BD provides a global HR help desk. This means employee questions about, say, policy or their pay aren't routed to an already overwhelmed local HR person.
Right.
They go to a centralized expert system. This ensures continuity and support while maintaining, strict local data compliance.
So that system provides the infrastructure? But what if a company is just starting out or needs to make a sudden pivot? That sounds like where Solution 5, HR advisory, comes in.
That's the consultancy arm, precisely. This service provides crucial expert advice. It's available either through a manageable retainer fee or on an ad hoc project basis. It's immensely helpful for small to medium-sized businesses or organizations looking to set up their initial HR structure.
Like doing audit or something.
Exactly. Maybe conducting a comprehensive HR process audit to find vulnerabilities or implementing new policies related to recent labor code changes. It's basically external brainpower applied directly to your internal structure.
Okay, and finally, that leaves the employee support services. Solution number 4, insurance services. Now, this might seem straightforward, but what's the strategic angle here beyond just providing health coverage?
The strategic angle is talent attraction and retention. By offering competitive, tailored benefits, things like private medical insurance or family allowances, you're signaling to the market that you're an employer of choice.
But the admin must be a nightmare.
It is, and that's the other side of it. Operationally, Payroll BD service reduces that massive administrative burden of dealing with complex insurance providers. They bring ease and convenience to benefits administration, making sure the benefits you offer are not just attractive, but also seamlessly managed.
It's so true. Top talent is always looking at the whole package. So managing insurance efficiently isn't just about employee wellness anymore. It's a competitive advantage.
Precisely. And that competitive advantage brings us right back to the core value of partnering with a PEO like Payroll BD. When you leverage their deep domain expertise and you outsource these complex, time-consuming duties like benefits, payroll, tax filing, you are directly freeing up valuable executive time.
I saw a statistic on this. Was it something like 16 hours a week?
16 hours every single week that executives often spend just chasing documents, correcting payroll errors, or trying to interpret complex policy changes.
Wow.
By removing that burden, you can shift your focus entirely to driving innovation, pursuing market dominance, executing on high-value client acquisition instead of processing forms that are probably already out of date anyway.
So it really boils down to confidence, doesn't it? It's about knowing you have complete government compliance assistance, dedicated HR support, and the capacity to handle nearly every aspect of HR management. They're acting as an extension of your own team.
And that raises the final and I think most important question for you, the business owner. Why are you implementing these systems in the first place? While outsourcing ensures your process is compliant, you've got the proper employment contracts, grievance policies, for example, the truly successful organizations use these efficient systems for more than just mitigating risk.
To build something greater.
To build something greater. We know that 96% of CEOs are planning to focus intensely on the employee experience. When you use streamlined expert HR solutions, you minimize administrative friction, you reduce frustration, and you allow your staff to focus on productivity. This is a strategic focus that yields better performance, that accelerates growth, and it's what ultimately separates the market leaders from everyone else.